Nathaniel Brooks had stopped believing in blind dates, not because he disliked women, but because he had grown tired of watching people's personalities change whenever they discovered who he really was. At 39, Nathaniel was the founder of a successful logistics company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He lived comfortably, but he rarely talked about money. His greatest pride wasn't his business. It was his 8-year-old daughter, Clara. After his wife passed away several years earlier, Nathaniel became determined to give Clara a stable childhood. He wanted her to understand that character mattered more than possessions. So he developed an unusual habit. Whenever someone arranged a blind date for him, he introduced himself as an ordinary single father with an average income. He drove an old sedan instead of his luxury car. He wore inexpensive clothes. He chose modest restaurants. And he never mentioned his company. The first woman complained about the restaurant. The second spent the entire evening talking about expensive vacations. The third asked him how much he earned before dessert arrived. Nathaniel politely ended each relationship. Then his friend Marcus arranged another blind date. "Please don't do your little experiment again," Marcus warned. "I'm not experimenting." "You are." Nathaniel smiled. "I'm just trying to find someone who likes Nathaniel, not his bank account." That evening, he arrived at a small family restaurant called Willow Street Cafe. Instead of meeting a sophisticated executive, he found a waitress named Amelia Carter. She wasn't his blind date. His actual date had sent a message saying she couldn't make it. Nathaniel was about to leave when Amelia approached his table. "Bad news?" He showed her the message. She read it and smiled sympathetically. "That hurts." "I'm getting used to it." Amelia glanced at the empty chair. "Then don't let her ruin your dinner." Nathaniel laughed. "You're right." She handed him a menu. "First meal on the house." He raised an eyebrow. "I can't accept that." "Why?" "Because I'm perfectly capable of paying." "I know." She smiled. "But you look disappointed, and disappointed people deserve dessert." Nathaniel laughed for the first time that evening. "Fair enough." He ordered the restaurant's simplest meal. During dinner, Amelia checked on him several times. She never asked what he did for a living, never asked about his car, never asked where he lived. Instead, she asked about his daughter after Nathaniel casually mentioned her. "You have a little girl?" "Yes." "What's she like?" "Curious, stubborn, very funny." Amelia smiled. "Sounds wonderful." Nathaniel looked at her. "You like children?" "I do. My mother ran a daycare when I was growing up." Their conversation continued until the restaurant became nearly empty. When Nathaniel finally stood to leave, he noticed Amelia quietly counting the cash in her tip jar. "You work long hours." "Most days." "Why?" She shrugged. "I'm saving to open a small bakery someday." Nathaniel smiled. "That's a good dream." "I hope so." He paid the bill and left a generous tip. Amelia immediately ran outside. "Sir!" Nathaniel turned. "You gave me too much." "It's for the good service." "I can't take that much." He smiled. "Then put it toward your bakery." She stared at him. "How did you know?" "You said you're saving." Amelia slowly smiled. "Thank you." Neither expected to see each other again. But the next afternoon, Nathaniel returned with Clara. He had promised his daughter pancakes. Clara spotted Amelia immediately. "Dad, she's the nice waitress." Amelia laughed. "You remember me?" "Of course." Clara looked at the dessert menu. "Do you make the chocolate cake?" "Not yet." "Why not?" Amelia smiled. "Because I'm still learning." Clara nodded seriously. "You should practice." Nathaniel laughed. "That's my daughter." Over the next few weeks, Nathaniel and Amelia became friends. He visited the cafe with Clara on weekends. They talked about dreams, family, and ordinary life. Nathaniel continued hiding his wealth. He wasn't trying to deceive Amelia. He simply wanted to know whether their connection would survive without money influencing it. One evening, Clara became sick with a fever. Nathaniel rushed her to the hospital. Amelia happened to be volunteering at the hospital cafe that night. When she saw Nathaniel carrying Clara, she immediately helped them find the pediatric department. She stayed until the doctor confirmed Clara would be fine. You didn't have to stay, Nathaniel said. Amelia smiled. She's your daughter. That doesn't make her my only responsibility. Nathaniel stared at her. Those words stayed with him. A few days later, Amelia's car broke down outside the cafe. Nathaniel helped her contact a mechanic. She looked surprised. You always seem to know how to solve problems. I've had practice. She laughed. You're mysterious. Maybe. Then came the day everything changed. Nathaniel's company hosted a major charity event at a luxury hotel. Amelia was hired by the catering company to serve guests. She entered the ballroom carrying a tray of drinks. Then she froze. A large screen displayed Nathaniel's photograph. Under it were the words, Nathaniel Brooks, founder and CEO of Brooks Global Logistics. Amelia stared at the screen. Then she looked across the ballroom. Nathaniel stood beside the company's board members wearing an expensive suit. For several seconds she couldn't move. When the event ended, she found him outside. How long were you planning to keep this from me? Nathaniel looked down. I wanted you to know me first. You told me you were ordinary. I am. She shook her head. You own half the companies people in this city use every day. I own a company. You pretended to be broke. I never asked you for anything. Amelia looked hurt. That's not the point. Nathaniel understood. I'm sorry. She crossed her arms. Why did you do it? He finally told her everything. The failed blind dates. The people who cared more about money than character. His fear of being loved for the wrong reasons. Amelia listened silently. Then she said, You were looking for someone who didn't care about your money. Yes, and you found someone who didn't know you had any. Yes, she smiled sadly. Then why did you make me prove something I never agreed to prove? Nathaniel had no answer. After a long silence, Amelia walked away. For 2 weeks, they didn't speak. Nathaniel realized his mistake. He had wanted honesty from Amelia while withholding his own. So he went to the cafe one evening. Amelia was closing the restaurant. I owe you another apology. She looked at him.
I know.
I shouldn't have tested you. No, I was afraid. Of what? Of finding someone who loved my money more than me. Amelia sighed. And now? Now I'm afraid I lost someone who liked me before she knew I had money. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. You did. Nathaniel's heart sank. But, she continued, you also found someone who was willing to forgive you. He looked up. Really? Maybe. She pointed toward the kitchen. If you want forgiveness, you can help me clean up. Nathaniel laughed. That's your condition? Yes. He rolled up his sleeves. Deal. Months later, Amelia opened her bakery. Nathaniel never bought it for her. Instead, he helped her create a business plan, introduced her to suppliers, and let her build it herself. Clara became the bakery's unofficial taste tester. On opening day, Amelia placed the first cupcake in front of Nathaniel. Still pretending to be broke? He smiled. Not anymore. She laughed. Good. Nathaniel looked around the small bakery filled with families, children, and the smell of fresh bread. For years, he had believed love required someone to pass a test. Now he understood something much simpler. The right person doesn't need to prove that they deserve your wealth. They simply need to see your worth before they ever know what you own. And sometimes, the person who sees your true value while believing you have nothing is the person worth holding on to when they discover you have everything.